Is you ready, my brother? Step up to this mic and let's get it.
Make some noise for Domes, y'all. Make some noise.
Hey everybody, my name's not Doms. It's Domes. What is that? Domes Gage is dope, but like...
That boy is good.
What's up, guys? Domes Gage here, and we're back. Back for another episode of Off the Dome with Domes Gage, episode 18. Back after a little 2-week hiatus. We've been gone for a little bit, people. But I've been busy. I wasn't just slacking these last 2 weeks watching Netflix. I've been busy and been doing a lot. So I suppose that means we're going to have a fair amount of stuff to talk about today. Don't do an episode for 2 weeks. You build up stuff to talk about. But, yeah, episode 18, Off the Dome with Domes Gage, we're back. If you're tuning in, make sure to hit that like button. Smash that thumbs up. Leave a comment. You know, let me know. You're glad to have me back. You're glad to have the podcast back. I did actually have somebody hit me up and say, what happened to the podcast? I've been waiting. And I've been slacking on the podcast. I've been slacking on the podcast, but I haven't been slacking. I've been doing other stuff. I've been, productive, but just when it comes to I guess we can talk about why I didn't do the fucking podcast, I guess. I don't See? Also, you build up stuff to talk about if you don't do a podcast for 2 weeks. Also, you forget how to do a podcast if you don't do a podcast for 2 weeks. So, I'm gonna not do that in the future. We're gonna be more consistent. Today is Tuesday. It is Christmas Eve. As you can see by Buck's attire, he's dressed for the occasion. But it is Christmas Eve, Tuesday, so that means not only am I 2 weeks late, I'm 2 weeks and a day late. And the least I could do is be fucking, put it out on the Monday that I'm supposed to after taking 2 weeks off, but I didn't. So here we are, Christmas Eve, recording episode 18. And let's get into it. So yeah, a couple weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, I was gonna do the episode, and the Monday that I usually do the episodes, it was my grandmother's 90th birthday. OG for real. Yeah, my grandma on my dad's side, so my dad's mom turned 90. And we went and did like this little surprise party kind of thing for her, surprised her. And that was the day I was supposed to do the podcast. Although I totally could have done it earlier. I maybe wouldn't have been able to edit it and I'm just making excuses, honestly, as to why I didn't do it 2 weeks ago. But that happened, and then I was like, all right, cool, I'm gonna do it like, the next day. And then I didn't do it the next day, and then you look up and it's already Friday, and you're like, oh shit, fucking, I might as well just wait until Sunday or Monday comes around again so I can do the podcast, and I'll just take a week off. And then the next week comes around and you're busy working on music and you're making a song. And you're like, shit, I need to sit down and do the podcast, but also I don't want to stop making the song. And then by the time you're done doing the song, you don't want to sit down and do the podcast anymore. And then you say you're going to do it the next day. Then you look up and it's Friday again. So I suppose that's why I didn't do the podcast for these last couple weeks. I've been busy doing stuff. And again, that's just me making excuses because I need to find time to sit down and talk to you guys for an hour. I made that commitment, so I gotta honor it. But yeah, I've been working on a lot of music in the last couple weeks. I think in the last episode, I was talking about I was going to meet up with Ryan after recording that episode because he had like a week off from work, from his job. And so we met up a few times and just like made a lot of beats, worked on a lot of music, and listened to the EP, you know, kind of taking notes on it or whatever. I sent him the EP so he can listen to it on his off time and give me notes or whatever. But so yeah, we worked on some stuff, you know, a couple weeks ago, and then kind of ever since I saw him, I've just been sort of like inspired to, you know, finish the EP. And I think I talked about it on the last episode that I've been fucking slacking on getting it finished. And I think I've been talking about that for quite a few episodes now. But yeah, I've just been slacking on getting the mixes finished, mixing and mastering this EP. But I made it a point to myself to put it out before the end of the year. And I was a couple weeks ago, I'm like, man, the fucking end of the year came like pretty fast. And I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure if I was still going to be able to put it out. And I've been like contemplating it in my head now for the last couple weeks. Like, damn, should I just maybe push it back? I don't think my fans would be that I mean, only my podcast listeners know I'm even working on an EP. The rest of my fans don't even know. So I was like, I don't think anybody will be that mad if I push it back like a week or something. KON's calling me, but I'm going to call him back. I could answer. I should answer. Nah. I'm not going to answer because KON is going to be KON's going to be on the next episode, guys. He's going to be on the next episode. We're going to do a decade kind of recap. Or I guess maybe not a recap, but, you know, we're just going to meet up and talk about different things and different memories over this past decade now that we're going into 2020 in a week or two. So I was talking to KON. I was like, oh, you should come through for the podcast. We could talk about, you know, all our stories over the last 10 years because that's really like where it started, me and KON. He's like the first person to put me in a studio, the person that got me into, you know, battle rap or whatever. Like KON's a big influence on me, and we have a lot of fun stories together. So he'll be on next week. If you guys have questions for KON, leave them below. But he called me and sidetracked what I was talking about, the EP probably. So yeah, I was like thinking about pushing the EP back because I'm just like, oh, I don't think like my fans will be that upset. You know, they'll understand if I push it back a week or whatever. But luckily I have friends like KON and Ryan that are like, nah, fool, you gave yourself this deadline, you know, you made this commitment to yourself to release this EP before the year is over. And then when they listen to it, they're like, I don't hear what you're hearing. Like, this should sound fine to me. So they hype me up to, like, still want to release it. And so, you know, I guess just getting that extra confidence boost, that extra little motivation from the homies being like, nah, this shit is hard. Like, you know, release it. This shit is tight. So, like I said, it's Christmas Eve. It's the damn 24th of December. So there's not many days left in December. But I'm releasing the EP before the year's over, guys. So what do y'all think about New Year's Eve? New Year's Eve EP release? 31st? Huh? Let me know what y'all think. If you guys think I should drop it New Year's Eve. That's what I'm shooting for, at least, guys. If I fail, then Me and KON would always say this thing when we have deadlines to like, finish music or whatever. He's like, if worse comes to worse, you just shit on yourself and pass out. Like I was doing like a single a week. I did like a single every week last January. And I was like, oh, it's kind of a lot to like get them done, to put them out every week. And KON's just like, if all else fails, you shit on yourself and pass out. Oh no, I can't do it. Pass out. So yeah, EP dropping the 31st. And if not, then I shit on myself and pass out. It's all good. And the EP it's still not 100% finished. I've been working on it a lot these last couple weeks. Just been really tweaking with the mixes and playing around with different stuff, and it's just a lot of small technical bullshit that doesn't really matter to you guys, that you guys probably won't even know the difference, like reverbs and delays and shit that makes no sense to the majority of my listeners. So it's just stuff that I'm tweaking out on to make it sound good, sound better. But yes, I have been working on it. I worked on it a lot last night, actually. I was up like real late just fucking working on mixing different songs, getting everything ready. There's like a couple small parts I may need to re-record, so got to get that done here in the next few days. And yeah, I made this fucking promise to myself, like, oh, I'm going to put this out, I'm going to put this EP out before the end of the year. And I said this in August. And then my original plan was I was going to put it out in October. And then October came and I was apparently slacking on it, which wasn't caused by weed because I was sober in October and I still didn't fucking finish the EP. So I can't blame it all on the weed. But, so I didn't put it out in October. And then November, I was just smoking weed and getting way too high. And now I'm kind of like, my tolerance is sort of regular again. So, I'm back being productive. Back being a functioning member of society. Slightly. Actually, not really. I'm not, a functioning member of society. I'm a functioning member of, my room. Of the cave that I don't fucking leave. But yes. So I've been working on the EP a lot to get that finished, and the 31st, guys, New Year's Eve. I know it's like people go out and party on New Year's Eve, but like I'm gonna drop it early, so that shouldn't be it shouldn't be a problem. People should still be able to go listen to it. Let me know what you guys think. If that's a good day to drop it. And I was gonna say something else about fucking. Oh, if I do release it on the 31st, I want to go live on YouTube and do like a little premiere, a little, live stream of just listening to the music. You guys can come and listen to the music with me and ask me questions. I can try and break down the songs a little bit. I thought that would be a cool idea. I've never really gone live on YouTube, or I think I went live on Instagram back in the day, but I've never done like YouTube live. And I thought that would be a cool way to just, listen to the music for the first time with you guys. And I don't really have plans for fucking New Year's. So if I release it that day, maybe, later that night, I'll go live and we can listen to the EP together. Let me know if you guys think that's a good idea, or if you would be down to tune in. And yeah. So yeah. Been working on the EP, but not only that, I've been working on other songs as well. I made 2 new songs. Just kind of, I guess they're more like freestyles, kind of more but they're to my own beats. So like I've done those, in the past. I did like those the Ed Sheeran or the Drake, freestyle. And those are cool because I can do them and I can, stay active and keep putting out content and just, showcase the rapping a little bit for you guys. But the downside to it is I can't really do anything with them because they're not my beats. I can't upload them to Spotify. I can't really, sell the song or do much with it. So I was like, man, let me if I just took that same approach, a little, minute verse or whatever, and do a little video for it, but do it over my own beat instead of doing it over these, industry beats, I can still put them on Spotify. And like I did Solitude Freestyle, a few years ago, that was my beat, but it's also just some raps or whatever. And I made 2 of those actually. I did two songs in 3 days. So I did one the first day, then I started one the next day, and then finished it on the 3rd day. So I was pretty productive, I thought, 2 songs in 3 days, even though it's not that productive compared to a lot of people. I need to up my game here, but I think that's what I was trying to do. I was like, let me just push myself, sit down with absolutely no idea, no bars, I didn't write these verses pre-hand. I made these beats, started listening to them with the mic, and just started kind of mumbling ideas, start just freestyling until I can come up with a piece, come up with a little rhyme scheme, and then I'll record that rhyme scheme, and then I'll just start punching in until the verse is done. And I've kind of been taking that approach a lot lately with making music. Most of the stuff on the EP is like that. I don't sit there and write an entire song before I go to record it because I think I've said previously that a lot of the times that you do that you're sitting on these verses or you're sitting on these songs for weeks or months, by the time you go to record it, it's not the same energy. It's not the same feeling that you had when you were first coming up with it. And so I've been just trying to strike while the iron's hot, just kind of fucking, I'm coming up with these ideas right on the spot. Let me just put them down on the mic instead of trying to write them down. Let me mumble this melody into the mic and then turn it into words. It's like a little puzzle kind of. And I've been finding I'm much more productive like that. And it's also way more exciting to start playing a beat and go in completely blank and have no type of idea what I'm about to record. And then, you look up in a couple hours and you have a whole verse to it and you're like, damn, that shit just fucking came out of nowhere. It's kind of just throwing paint at the wall and seeing what fucking sticks, seeing what looks good. And so I've been taking that approach a lot while creating music. And I don't know why I was just in this mode of or in this mood, this feeling of just you know what it was? It was Ryan came over and we were just playing beats and I was just freestyling, legit just fucking off the dome freestyling or whatever. And I don't say the greatest shit, but I can fall into a nice little pocket or I could come up with a good rhyme scheme off the top, but it's hard for me to really structure it or have the most witty punchlines or whatever when I'm just, going off the head or whatever. And but what I noticed is I would fall into these pockets. I would fall into these little pieces where I'm like, ooh, that was actually a kind of cool line, or that was a cool rhyme scheme, or that was a cool flow. And I just took that idea of let me just, mess around until I come up with a cool piece that I like. And I kind of just took that idea to actual music. I was just like, dude, I could fucking play a beat, freestyle a little bit in my head till I come up with a piece. Plant that piece down as my building block and just kind of fucking build off of it. It's like fucking Legos for verses. You feel me? Lincoln Logs. I don't think I played with Lincoln Logs when I was a kid. I was more of a Legos guy, I think. But, yeah. So, I've been busy. I've been doing a lot. I'm sorry that I was gone for 2 weeks and there was no podcast for 2 weeks, guys, but I have been busy. I I wasn't just watching Netflix. I promise. Just having, just trying to get back in the swing of things. And I'm just fucking inspired right now. Something's just like fucking a light switch flicked in my head, and I'm just like, it's a different feeling right now that I'm just like, I don't know, trying to take advantage of the time that I have and just be more productive. I talk about this all the time. The last episode, I thought that was so fucking tight, where I was talking about that, I keep saying all these things. I need to do better. I need to make a change. And I kept comparing it to a New Year's resolution. And then I said that this music shit is not a New Year's resolution. This music shit is what I'm trying to pursue. And that was all off the cuff. I had no plans of saying that in the last episode. And when I listened to it back, I was like, fuck, man, I actually really feel like that. I really agree with that we are heading into a new year, into a new decade. And for me to just keep doing the same thing, there's no point. It's not going to get me any further than it's been getting me. So, yeah, take this shit serious. It's now or never, for real. Like, it's... Anyway, I talked about that in the last episode, and that was pretty motivational, even for me to, like, watch back or listen back to hear myself say it, It's kind of just like... hearing myself say it makes me want to fucking actually act on it. So, yeah. We're going to be doing a lot more in 2020. And from here on out, honestly, I plan to do a lot more. And that's why I was like, oh, maybe I could, push the EP back, push it back a week or two, put it out in January. And that could be my first project of 2020. I could do this EP as my first project, and then whatever comes next could follow. But I've been sitting on this music for so long. I've been sitting on a bunch of songs that going into this new decade, I just really want to start fresh, I think. And this EP is like, it's 8 songs that I made a year ago, and that I've been sitting on, like, kind of wanting to release, but sort of not finishing them, and just, I was going to put them out as singles, and then I kind of was like, no, all these sort of fit together. Let me bunch it together as a little project and release it. So I think releasing it will be a good way to send off 2019, kind of, even though I'll still have, older songs that'll come out in the future, like stuff that I made even before the EP, or, stuff that I made in the last year or two that's still going to come out in 2020. This music on the EP is very, I don't know. I just think it would be a good way to kind of, send off 2019 and start fresh in 2020. So... although, if I'm putting the EP out on New Year's Eve, I'm going to be promoting it into 2020. So, it is what it is. Yeah. So I've been working on not only, the EP, but some other songs, but also the promotion for the EP. Like, the artwork and making sure all my cover art is good to go, and all my, I'm planning to do like maybe some little lyric videos for the songs or something. I'm just trying to figure out, you got to have, videos and more content to really promote your music these days. It's not about just putting out the song or putting out the album and hoping it does well, really utilizing like social media. I'm really trying to like make little Instagram videos with clips of, all the songs individually, and just trying to get creative with the promotion on top of getting the music finished. So by the time I get the music finished, I want to make sure I have all the the artwork and stuff done, which is essentially done. I've been just kind of messing around with. I mess around with stuff until the last minute, guys. Hence why I do these podcasts late most of the time. Because I fucking procrastinate. But, yes. EP. December 31st. New Year's Eve. And, now that I'm saying it, looks like I'm going to have to stick to it. Because if I put it out on the podcast and I don't stick to it, I'm going to feel fucking bad. I'm going to fucking feel down on myself. I felt down on myself that I missed the last 2 weeks, guys. Don't think it's not mutual. You know, I felt like, fuck, man, I didn't even do the podcast this week. But I was making myself feel okay because I was like, well, I didn't do the podcast, but I did make 2 new songs and work on the EP a bunch. So you got to weigh your options, I guess. And I think I said that on an episode where I was like, if there's ever a time where I need to do the podcast, but that creativity strikes, that inspiration comes, and I want to start making a song, I'm going to do the music. I mean, I know anybody that's listening to this podcast is only listening because they like the music. They want to hear me rap. They don't, the fact that you guys are listening to me talk for an hour is a plus. And, I appreciate you guys for it, but I know you're only here because you want to hear the music. So I think you understand. If I take a week off to work on music, because that means you guys get music soon. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to release the EP. I'm excited to put some new fucking music out. I've been sitting on these songs for quite a while now, and I'm excited to just kind of take a new approach this next year as well with the music and just with the way I release stuff, and just being more productive, being more active. That's why I kind of even made these freestyle things that I was, talking about, these little verses or whatever, these 2 songs, it's not necessarily stuff I have to overthink that much. I don't have to what album is this going on? What fucking, is the mix perfect? Is this, and this perfect for this song? When I'm just doing something like, let me just showcase the raps. Let me just make a cool, I could do a little video for it and put it out. I don't have to overthink everything, put too much extra effort into it. And that's kind of why that was why I started to do, the raps over the Drake beat or the Billie Eilish thing, is because I was just like, let me give you guys something while I make the real music, while I make the actual songs. Let me give you guys these little verses. And I plan to do that a lot this year or this next year. Like I said, I did 2 in 3 days, I wrote, and both of them to me are good to go. I could film a little video for it and put it out, soon. Matter of fact, I'm going to drop one of them first week of fucking January. We're not even letting the EP chill, guys. We're not even letting it chill. We're putting out the fucking EP on the 31st. Then first week of January, we're putting out a new verse that's not even on the EP, completely separate. So just to show my appreciation for you guys still fucking listening. And, while I've been so quiet, I do put out, stuff here and there, but I've just been, in the grand scheme of things, when I look at it, it's like, man, I've been kind of quiet. And I guess that could bring up something I wanted to talk about on the podcast. I posted my every fucking artist has been posting their Spotify year recap numbers. So it was pretty Spotify gave like all the artists an option to see, you know, how they performed over the last year. And I was seeing everybody do it. I'm like, damn, everybody's posting their Spotify numbers and they're doing really well. And I think this was also a thing last year, and I was just like not happy with the numbers. I saw them and I was just like, man, I need to do better. I need to go harder. And this year, I kind of forgot this was even a fucking thing. Forgot that the whole Spotify Wrapped is what it's called. 2019 Wrapped, Spotify for artists. And I posted it on my Instagram for anybody that I think I posted on Facebook and stuff too. Shit, I think I actually even posted it like on YouTube. They have like the community tab. Anyway, so everybody was posting theirs. All the huge artists with millions of fucking streams and all that. So I went to look at mine and was like, fuck it, let me post it. And what I wrote about it, here, I had 11.5 thousand streams, 700 hours, 1.1 thousand listeners, and 41 countries. Which I don't really know technically what all that stuff means. It's kind of a little confusing, but you know, 11,000 streams is essentially what I'm looking at. I got 11.5 thousand streams in 2019 on Spotify. That's not counting the Apple Music or the YouTube or anything. This is Spotify alone. So for Spotify listeners, that was my stats. And I wrote, I said, I know these numbers aren't much compared to some of these other artists, but I'm super grateful for everybody who has been listening to the music this year. I have a surprise for y'all coming soon, the EP, which my people on Instagram don't know that. Follow me on Spotify if you don't already. I'm setting a goal to double these numbers by next year. And just seeing those Spotify numbers, and like I said, I'm super grateful for those 11,000 streams that that I got this year. I'm not downplaying that at all. I'm super grateful that you guys are listening and still tuning in, and that you guys give a fuck. You know, I'm super grateful for that. That's like, I can't state that enough. And people were kind of like, oh, how, you know, you can't compare to other people, and, you know, why compare if, you know, you're doing whatever. I got what they were saying, and I wasn't trying to downplay the numbers that I do have at all. But just seeing it kind of inspired me to go harder, that I was like, okay, if that's what I did off of not really even doing that much. I think I put out one song on Spotify, 2 songs. Okay, no, I put out the 4 or 5 songs from last year. I'm trying to think. Okay, so yeah, I dropped like 4 or 5 songs last year. I got those up on Spotify this year. And then I think I released maybe 1, maybe 2 other songs. So for putting out 6 songs on Spotify this year, and then just like the other stuff that's up there, which is my 1 album, to get those numbers off that is fucking awesome. Like I'm super hyped about that. I can't like act like that it's not an accomplishment, or that it's not, you know, I'm just not trying to downplay it. You know, some of my fans were kind of just like thinking I was not happy with it. And I'm definitely grateful for it. But yeah, just seeing that was like, oh, I know I could do better if I tried. You know, if I go hard, like let's see what that 11,000 can turn into if I really put my best foot forward and start dropping on Spotify all the time, start dropping singles, start dropping freestyles, start dropping projects, just, you know, doubling down on that work ethic, and just stop overthinking. That's my biggest downfall, I think. Just overthinking just every little thing, when I just need to go with the flow. Go with the flow. Make the music. If that shit is good, put it out. Fucking, it'll all get better with time, or it'll all get more polished with time. And that's, I was telling, we were listening, we were going somewhere with my homies and shit, and like this old Drake song came on, and I was like, damn, I was like, it's so tight to hear, the biggest artist in hip hop, to hear when he didn't have it all together, and he's doing these songs, and the mix isn't the greatest, and the singing on it isn't the greatest, and the raps on it aren't the greatest, but it's the early stages of what he was going to become. And that shit inspires me more than anything, more than listening to these fucking polished, greatest recorded, best mixed, fucking best produced songs that are getting put out like by industry standards nowadays. I get the most inspiration from hearing the people that don't have it all together, or the people that have it all together now but didn't have it all together. It's like you got to start somewhere. And so yeah, I'm really like just that whole second guessing, like, oh, if this is good, if I think that shit's good, I'm putting it out, and I just don't need to worry about like all the little details that will eventually get better. They'll eventually be more polished, more crystal clear, more clean. I don't know what I'm trying to say there, but you get it. So yeah, I'm just inspired for the new year coming. I'm inspired to get this music out, and then just I want to do, which I'm oh shit, no, my mic's okay. I thought something just happened to my microphone. I'm putting this out there. Fuck it. I want to do 3 projects minimum. I'm going to do 3 albums or 3 projects. Like I said, I'm putting out an EP. It's 8 songs. It's not a full-length album, but it's a project. So you might get 3 EPs in 2020. You might get 2 EPs in a full length. I might start doing shit that's fucking 4 songs. I'm just kind of like, I want to give you guys more content. And not only give you guys more content, I need to put more content out there if I expect this shit to work. If I expect people to listen to the content, I need to have more content for you guys to listen to. So that's really what it comes down to. Like, seeing those Spotify numbers, I was like, oh man, that was me not even fucking trying. I forgot this was a thing that they tell you how many streams you got at the end of the year. So I'm like, shit, I got 1 album up there. Let me put 3 more plus a ton of other shit and see what happens. See if the streams don't fucking bump up a little bit. Because that's anytime, and like videos are super important, and that's something I'm really going to look into this next coming year, is just like really cracking down with the videos. And even if they aren't the fucking most fucking 4K red camera fucking slow motion shot, like it's not the greatest quality video, all the videos that me and the homies pull off with this fucking camera right here, they're passable. They're good enough. And like I said, it's only going to get better and more polished the further, down the road that we go with this shit. And so, it's like, because for a long time I always like compared it like, well, Shoot for the Sky is my best performing music video. And there could be multiple reasons as to why, but I think one of them is just how good the quality of the video is. It looks very professional. It's very professionally done. And we paid a lot of money to get that video done. Money I don't have to be paying on other videos right now. It's just not... I held my music to such a standard where I was like, if I don't fucking have the most movie quality music video, then I'm like doing a disservice to the song. And somewhere down the road, I just had to realize, like, dude, not everything is going to be fucking Steven Spielberg. You know what I mean? Not everything's going to be Michael Bay, fucking whatever other director that I could name right now. I don't know why those were the 2 that came to my head, but, fucking Scorsese, that fucking, that movie just came out on Netflix. Whatever, it's not always going to be that. Sometimes you got to do some independent fucking short films. Sometimes you got to do you get it. You get what I'm trying to say. Sometimes you got to do shit that isn't necessarily the fucking the best quality if you can't afford it, or if you can't make that quality happen. I've let that hold me back for so long that I've just been like, fuck, I can't get this, impeccable music video, or I can't, do these ideas that are in my head because it's going to take too much budget or whatever. I just like overthink it, and then I psych myself out, and I'm like, yeah, you're right, we can't even do that video because it's too much fucking whatever, when in reality we can make something happen just with the camera that you're watching me on right now, and that shit it'll be passable, and it'll be decent, and it's only going to get better. So I think I'm kind of talking in circles at this point, but that's what happens. That's what happens on the Off the Dome with Dome's Gauge podcast. So yeah, I spent the last 2 weeks just really like, I had this motivation kind of come over me, and I was just like, all right, we're going hard 2020. And so I started working on a bunch of music. I started just fucking, being active and trying to be as productive as I can. And then when it came around to doing the podcast, I put it off to work on music and shit. So a 40-minute explanation as to why I didn't do a podcast for the last 2 weeks, but we back, people. We're back, and I'm gonna do better in 2020. We're gonna do better with the podcast. That's the motto for fucking 2020. Do better. You feel me? Do better. We're gonna do better with the podcast. I'm gonna every week, every fucking Monday, no excuses. I gotta step it up. And then, the music, all that. We're just gonna do better 2020. So thank you guys for tuning in and sticking around for all these years, or for however long that you have. And I'm really excited to have you guys along for the journey and for this next decade that we're going into. I'm super excited to have you guys. Like, seeing you guys comment on the podcast and let me know that you're listening, and comment on the videos. That just gives me like more inspiration to release these songs and to release the music, because I know somebody is going to listen to it when I put it out. So, fuck yeah. Thank you guys. It means a lot, for real. So, all right. Burnt a hole in this podcast 42 minutes in. So, yeah, that's kind of what I've been doing for the last couple weeks. Just trying to stay busy, working on a lot. Met up with the homies, met up with Ryan, met up with KON. KON actually hadn't heard the EP in its entirety yet, so he came through. I played him the EP, and I was like, you think I should push it back to January? And he's listening to it. He's like, the fuck? He's like, you better drop this shit fucking December. You better drop this shit. So I was like, all right, fair enough. I'll fucking finish it up. I'll get my final tweaks in and drop it. The only thing is, after all this Spotify talk, if I drop it on the 31st, that means it's gonna take a few days to get to, the streaming services like Spotify and Apple Music and all that. So it might just be like a YouTube SoundCloud release on the 31st, and then, the following week will be Spotify and all that shit. But yeah, I'm holding myself to it now that I've fucking talked about it on the podcast for 40 minutes. Now that I've talked about it on the podcast for 40 minutes, we're dropping the damn EP on the 31st. And yeah. All right, cool. I think that was about the gist of what I wanted to talk about in the body of this episode. We can probably get to questions. Yep, looking at my notes, guys, sorry. EP, 2 new songs, met up with KOM, played on blah, blah, blah. Haven't watched any Netflix. I wrote that in my notes just to let you guys know that I've been being productive. And because I know there was like, I think 2 episodes ago, I'm just like, I wasn't doing shit this week. So I know when you see me gone for 2 weeks, you're just like, Domes ain't doing shit. He's fucking watching The Office or something. That was not the case this time. I swear. And then Spotify numbers. Yeah. So, all right, cool. Let's get into these questions. Oh, fucking Write My Verse. Somebody asked me, when am I doing Write My Verse 5 live? And I blew it, guys. I blew it. No, I didn't blow it. I'm still going to do it, but it's probably going to be January. And so that means this will be the first year that I don't do Write My Verse, and it makes me sad, but also I'm doing other shit, you know? In order for me to finish this EP and to get it out on the 31st and to get sidetracked and make 2 new songs or however many new songs I want to make. That's why I sent fucking Ryan the new songs I make, and I'm like, I probably shouldn't be getting sidetracked from the EP, but here's these 2 new songs I made. But, you know, you gotta fucking, when the inspiration strikes, you gotta fucking take advantage of it. So, but, yeah, I do want to do Write My Verse 5 live. Still, I just kind of blew it as far as the timing goes. So, it's looking like January we'll do it. And, yeah. Oh, that's why I pulled out my phone to look at the damn questions. I feel like there was a few questions this episode because I've been gone for 2 weeks. So people have just been fucking piling on. Just been piling on. All right, all right. Matter of fact, I'm going to take a quick break, use the bathroom, and I'll be back with questions. Boom. Boom? That was a funny sounding boom. Boom. Anyway, we're back, people. We are back. Okay. Questions. There's a lot of people just leaving like fucking, I think maybe last episode was the episode where I was talking about, the New Year's thing about this isn't a New Year's resolution and I just really need to make changes. So I was getting a lot of people giving me suggestions on what I should do. And I just want to read this before we get into the questions. Pink Alien, who has commented before, he says, he was probably just listening to me talk, and this was his opinion. He said, sounds like it's time to go on the road, see some new horizons, meet some new people, take a trip to Mexico, carry on south, write some songs along the way, or team up with KON, buy a van, travel around the states, take off the dome on the road, and interview people involved in hip-hop culture. Honestly, dude, pretty fucking good ideas. I can't front. I think I've talked about some of those ideas on prior episodes of the podcast. And say, fuck yeah, man, I would love to fucking buy a van and travel around in it. But, that's just not where my finances are at right now. But, I'll keep it in mind for the future. Funny that you say I should take a trip to Mexico because that was one thing that my Spotify said, that we got some love in Mexico this year on Spotify. My audience grew 75% in Mexico on Spotify. And I mean, that doesn't really mean much. It could have been like from fucking 1 to 4 or whatever, but 75%, man. We're doing big numbers in Mexico. Mexico's fucking with the boy. Yeah, that Spotify shit gives you cool little stats. It's like people listen to 77 hours of your music between 1 and 6 a.m. That's a collective sleep debt of more than 11 nights. based on 7 hours of sleep. So they're basically saying instead of people sleeping, they were listening to my music. I don't know. They gave you heard in 41 countries is crazy. I can't even lie. I didn't even know there was 41. I think I said something like that in one of these episodes. Like, I am not fucking geographically I don't know none of this shit, guys. I don't know how many fucking countries there are. Actually, I think it's 79, and I only know that because all these big artists were posting their stats, and it only went up to 79 countries. So, thanks Spotify for teaching me that. I'll pay attention to Spotify. My fucking history teacher or geography, whatever the fuck that was that taught you those things, didn't listen. But yeah, I agree. I need to see some new horizons and meet some new people, Pink Alien. But all in due time. That's something I definitely want to do. But all right. Hot Dog Kisser Extravaganza. I don't know what the fuck this will talk about. Not Hot Dog Kisser, my bad. I was just started to read another comment and anyway. Giant Records says something about this episode, bro. Feel like you got an update. Was last episode good? Is that what you're saying? Was it like, it was kind of deep. I think there was like some parts where I was really like fucking, like the New Year's resolution thing. Like I said, that just came out from the spirit, bro. I didn't think about that at all. Anyway, let me fucking get to these questions. I'm already almost a fucking hour into this episode. I was just responding to your comments, which I can probably respond to your comments in the comment section. I don't need to record the episode first. Anyway, Hot Dog Kisser asks, have you had a near-death experience? Hot Dog Kisser just be thinking the most bizarre shit he can think of. Have I had a near-death experience? I don't think so, dude. I think I've managed to avoid that. Let me knock on wood now. Jesus. Yeah. Nothing that comes to my head right now, Hot Dog Kisser. So let's keep it that way. Knock on wood one more time. Hot Dog Kisser also asks, how did you and Ryan meet? That's a cool little story, I think. Well, I don't know how cool it is, but we met through a mutual friend playing poker. One of my homies hit me up. It's like 2013, maybe 2013, something like that. And yeah, one of my homies has hit me up that I used to kick it with like a lot when I was young, and we used to play poker back in the day, like fucking way back in the day. And he hit me up just kind of randomly and was like, hey, I'm about to go to my homie's house and play poker, and we just kick it and smoke and drink and all that. If you want to come through, it's by your crib. And I was like, yeah, fucking, I ain't doing anything. I'll come, I'll come kick it or whatever. And so I would go over to our other homie's house and play poker, and I met a bunch of people. A lot of my friends that I hang out with now, I met, through that, I guess. And Ryan was one of those people that I met playing poker. And he must have came to my crib one time, because he always tells me he saw me making music, and that's what inspired him to do it. It inspired him to go buy fucking FL Studio and start making beats. Is he must have came over to like kick it at the crib, and I'm like making beats or working on something, and he's like, damn, like he told me like he never saw it get done like that. Like he never saw the curtain get pulled away, you know what I mean? Or behind the curtain, or whatever the fucking saying is. Like he never saw, behind the scenes of how music gets made. Like, so when he saw me do it, that is like his inspiration for starting to make beats at all. So So that's super tight to me. When I heard him say that, I was like, oh, fuck yeah, that fucking means a lot. And he's always been super supportive and super, a fan of the music. And so when he started making beats, I was always super like there to help him. I'm like, shit, don't do because I didn't have anybody to tell me don't do this when I started making beats. I was like, don't. So there's little tips that I'll be like, I know, which maybe I shouldn't be like, hey, don't do this, because sometimes you need to trial and error for yourself. You need to experiment for yourself and realize it doesn't work. But there's just certain like little things that I'd be like, oh, don't do that. Like, you'll learn that's not the way to do that and shit. And so just kind of giving him my little any type of gem, any type of expertise that I may have learned over the last fucking decade of me making beats and making music. Just trying to give him any kind of help that I can. And so a lot of stuff I remember he would start showing me, and I'd be like, damn, this shit has a lot of potential. Like there would be a couple things off about it, but there would be like something there that I'd be like, fuck, I like that. Like, let's run with that. So that was like some of those earlier sessions. Like even Run It Into the Ground is a beat that he made the majority of, and I took basically the skeleton of what he had, then added around it, added some bass line, added some different drums, and kind of beef it up or whatever. And it was like a co-production where that's produced by me and him. And I've never really worked with anybody like that, to where I'm making the beat with him. It's like a collaborative effort. And that was, fucking a couple years ago now that we made that song. And he's only gotten fucking so much better since then. And now he's sending me shit that I'm just like, psh, that shit is good to go. Like, I don't even need to touch it. Maybe throw a fucking bass line or 808 or something on there. But other than that, he's like definitely making a lot of progress. And he's got a few beats on the album, not the EP that's coming out on the 31st. That's all produced by me. But on the actual full length, he's got like 2 or 3 on there so far. So that's how I met Ryan. And that's how we started working together. So, yep. Shout out to him, because I know he's going to listen to this episode at some point. Look at that, Ryan. Hot Dog Kisser even cares about you, dog. He's like, who's Ryan? You talk about him in this fucking podcast so much. I'm trying to get Ryan to make a YouTube channel where he posts beats, like make some sort of I'm trying to get him on that wave too. Like 2020, we're going hard. You're fucking making a YouTube. You're getting a damn fucking producer name that you like, and we running with this shit. So yeah, I try and fucking motivate that fool as much as he motivates me, because we definitely have mutual inspirational conversations where we're just like fucking gassing each other up. And then it's always like, even like sometimes there will be days that we meet up and we're just like fucking hype talking that we don't even really get shit done. But then that following week or two after those conversations, I'm just like in go mode and shit. So he's a big helping hand, that's for sure. That's for sure. Gary the Fish. It's my dude. He listens to every episode, leaves a comment on every episode. Gary the Fish. I fucks with you, Gary. Gang, gang. You know the deal. He said, question for episode 18. He said, who would you rather do an interview with? Nardwar, Vlad TV, or Adam 22? It's a good question. Good question. Good hip hop interview. Good hip hop interview question. I like it. That's an easy answer though, and it's Nardwar by fucking far. I'm a huge Nardwar fan. I even think it's disrespectful when Nardwar be interviewing people and he does the doot doot loot doo at the end and they don't say doot doot back because they don't fucking know the deal and they just look at him crazy. I'm like, Nardwar should not be interviewing the people that don't know who Nardwar is. Like, I've fucking studied interviews. I've watched all these people come up. I've seen a shitload of Nardwuar interviews. He's the best interviewee, the best interviewer that there is. You know, fucking when I first saw it, I was just like, how does he know all this shit about these people? And he still somehow manages to do this years later. And he's been interviewing since back with fucking Kurt Cobain, Nirvana days. And he's still interviewing artists till this day. And the most like in-depth, how the hell did you know that? Asking shit about your elementary school, like just weird fucking off the wall questions. And so yeah, that right there is like a staple in like, oh shit, this is happening. Like I know shit is working out when I get the Nardwuar interview. Like Vlad TV, sure, cool. I don't really fuck with Vlad TV like that. Like I've watched it occasionally, but I don't really fuck with it that much. Adam 22, I used to watch the No Jumper interviews a lot back in the day. I kind of haven't really kept up on them that much. But so I guess that would be cool too. You know, it lets you know you're in the right direction. But that Nardwuar, that's a fucking stamp of approval right there. So do. You feel me? I get so mad when I'm watching. I'm like, how do they not know who Nardwuar is? Like, if you know who fucking Charlemagne or like any of these fucking radio personalities that are gonna interview you, the fucking Breakfast Club and the Hot 97s or whatever, if you know who those people are but don't know who Nardwuar is, you don't deserve to be interviewed by him. And that's how I feel. You don't fucking deserve it, bro. I've literally pictured that many times, thought about it, where I'm just like, damn, fool, the moment that Nardwuar goes doot-doot-a-loot-doo and then holds the mic to me so I can say doot-doo, I'm going to be so excited. I'm going to be like... I think it was like the Logic Nardwuar, maybe like the first time that fool Logic was ever on a Nardwuar interview. And he was so excited. Like he was so fucking happy because he knows how special and how fucking cool Nardwuar is. And then there's people that just don't know who he is and fucking, it's disrespectful, man. Nardwar's a fucking legend. So anyway, you can see I'm passionate about that one. I fuck with Nardwuar, man. And shit, Nardwuar has a TED Talk that I watched fucking kind of recently. He's the shit. I fuck with Nardwuar. I mean, I would like to have I would like to do an interview with any of those people because that means I'm doing the right thing. That means I'm on the radar of, these people. But also, like I said, Nardwuar is just like, that's a stamp of approval, man. There's a few things that I'm like, okay, BET Cypher, rapping on Sway in the Morning, rapping on maybe like Funk Flex, or, I mean, we'll go BET Cypher, Sway in the Morning, those kind of things. Nardwuar interview, Double XL cover or freshman or whatever the case. I don't know that that's necessarily the lane that will happen for me, but those are the kind of things that are just like fucking stamps of approval and sort of like milestones that I look to reach. So, yeah. I think that is the end of the questions. People leaving me comments just, ask or telling me to do stuff. I'm gonna read this sentence from this guy. It's a comment. His YouTube name is Me Now. And he said, okay, so I listened to you when I was a kid. I thought of you, so I looked you up, and this is what I think. Get a new mic where you don't have to look away to breathe. I don't have to look away to breathe. Maybe if I'm like coughing or like burping or something, I'll look away from the mic. And that's how mics work. If your mouth is on the microphone and you breathe, you're going to hear it. That's how it works, dude. Anyway, He says, be more confident and dig into music. Okay. You have great rhymes, so you should be battling Coincided and all the other battle rappers and should be the... Oh, you mean Conceited. You have great rhymes, so you should be battling Conceited and all the other battle rappers, and you should be the white boy on Wild and Out. No thanks, dude. I'm so fucking straight on that. Maybe you haven't got the memo that I don't do the battle rap stuff anymore. But yeah, I'm definitely not about to be fucking on Wild and Out and being forced to do Eminem diss tracks with Nick Cannon. No way, homie, not happening. But I appreciate, the compliment aspect of that. But yeah, no, that's definitely not what I'm trying to do. Push yourself and do better than just the EP. I agree with that 100%. The EP is the first step, and then we're going fucking hard after that, boys. You were my hero when you were 17. Be the hero I want. Maybe I shouldn't be reading this on the pod. I should have read it just like normally, but me reading it on the podcast makes me sound like I'm being kind of disrespectful. Oh well. He says, be the hero I want. You're great. Show the world you have love in Oregon. Well, I appreciate the love in Oregon, and I appreciate the love that you're giving me. Don't agree with necessarily all of the comment, but I can't really say I'm going to be your hero, dude. That's like too much pressure for me. But I can say I'm going to put my best foot forward in the future. And hopefully that makes me your hero again. I can be your hero, baby. You feel me? Just kidding. All right, that's the end of the fucking episode, guys. We did it. We did it, didn't we, Buck? Episode 18. Another one for the books. We're back after a 2-week hiatus. And we'll be back next week for another episode. Gonna make sure we're on point. You feel me? We're gonna be back next Monday. No late episodes, no skipping episodes. We're gonna be back next Monday with KON for the very first guest on Off the Dome with Domes Gauge for the decade recap episode, or the just reflect on the decade. And then also I'm going to probably do like a year-end recap as well. Maybe by myself. I'll put it in the episode. I don't know. I'm going to do something where I just talk about all the things I've sort of accomplished this year. And KON will be here to talk about just all the things we've accomplished in a decade. Or just, cool memories from the last decade and, things that made us who we are. Made me who I am as an artist, and yes. So, if you have any questions to ask me and KON, leave them in the comments below. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel for more videos. We're going to be more active on the channel this next year. And, Merry Christmas, guys. I hope you have a happy holiday. Have a fucking jolly time. I don't know what you're supposed to say in times like this. I put Buck in the Santa hat. That was the best I could do, guys. I didn't do any Christmas decorations. I put Buck in the Santa hat. That was all I had. Actually, damn, I have a fucking mug that's more Christmassy than this one. I should have used. Well, coulda, shoulda, woulda. Too late. Too late. Merry Christmas, season's greetings from Off the Dome with Domes Gauge podcast, me and Buck, All right, let me end this episode before we reach an hour and 10 minutes. Thank you guys for listening. We'll be back next week with another episode. See you then. Peace.